everyone, I'm Allie with Potomac Beads. Join me in making these fun Art Deco dangle earrings. These Deco earrings, which match my outfit not at all, but they're so cute and I had to put them on, are going to be using right angle weave. We're going to be learning to use multiple rows of right angle weave, and there's tons of different materials that you can use for this design. So gather up some materials and join me learning how to kind of perfect right angle weave, multiple rows, and embellishing them as well. To begin our piece, we're going to be working and learning right angle weave. If you don't know right angle weave, it may be a good idea to actually watch a right angle weave video first that we have before getting into creating an isosceles triangle with a right angle weave. I have here right angle units that we're going to call our columns. These are going to be our rows, and we're going to be building boxes in our columns that are going to decrease in size. So we have 6 that are going to be in the first column, 5, 4, 3, 2, down to 1. The original row is also going to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So to get in and actually start building the triangle, the first thing we're going to do, looking at the back here, is we are going to be building our first column, which is going to be 6 boxes high. Each piece of right angle weave unit is going to be using 8 beads. Normally right angle weave is based on a group of 4. We're going to be doubling that, and that's how we get to the 8. To begin, we're going to make our first box, and we're going to think about it as having a floor to the box, a right side to the box, a top to the box, and a left side to the box. Let those all fall down next to a stop bead. The stop bead, when we're looking at it and working on it, is going to be a bead that is eventually going to come off the piece. What the stop bead does is help the beads from falling off the end of the piece without actually going in and becoming part of the piece. And I lost all my beads off my needle by accident, so I'm going to put those 4 back on. Those 4 sets, which are going to be 8 total beads. Once we have those 8 beads on, let those go back next to your stop bead. And we're going to round this out and create our box. We're going to go back through the first 2 beads of the box, going in a circular function, sewing through those first 2. That is going to be our bottom of our box. It's going to hang out there right next to the stop bead. From here, to add more boxes on top of this column, we're going to go up through the boxes on the right-hand side, and then we're going to go through the 2 beads that form the top of that box. The top of the box, when we add another one above, is going to become the bottom of the next box. From here, because we know that we added 8 beads originally, we're going to add 6 beads, because the 2 beads that were the top of the box are going to become the bottom of the next box, and we're going to share them. So on go, 6 beads, 3 groups of 2 for the left side, the top, and the right side of the box. Going in a circle, because right angle weave is just a series of figure 8s, we're going to go back through those 2 beads that our thread is coming out of. Pulling nice and tight then, getting that stop bead out of the way. That's going to make our second box sitting right on top of our first box. So there you have your second box right on top of your first. From here, you're coming out the bottom of that second box. We're going to go up through, because we always want to come out kind of the top right now. So we're going to go through the left 2 beads, which are the left side of the box. And then we're going to go through the top 2 beads from that second box in the column. And pull that tight. So now we have our 2 boxes, one sitting on top of the other. We're going to add our third box in. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we have our bottom of our box that's already there. We added our 2 right side, our 2 top, and our 2 left side. Coming around, I'm going to go back through those 2 beads here, which are the bottom of the box. Coming through then, I've got a little bit of a tight bead there on. Coming through here, that builds the 3rd box. You can count the right angle weave units by looking at the empty pieces here and counting those boxes. Until we get in and actually add on more rows, they're going to look a little bit more circular than they are squared. So we're going to go up through the right hand side now, through and out, so we're coming out the top of the last box that we added. To add our next box on, again, the top of the last box becomes the bottom of the next. So we're basically building like floors onto a house, if you think about that too. So I'm going to put on 6 more beads. And once I have those 6 beads on, I'm going to go back through that box bottom and pulling the thread out here without tangling it. I get my next box. You can see I have a fair amount of thread showing. That's just because I'm doing this on camera for you. Normally I would have not that much thread showing and have it nice and tight. I'm then going to go up through the left-hand side of that box that I just made for box 4. And if you notice too, as you're doing the right angle weave, you're always going to be going up the opposite sides. So this time I'm going up the left side of my box. The last one I went up the right. Again, going through those top 2 beads, which become the bottom of my next box. So I'm going to go ahead in here and build my next box. 3 beads go on in groups of 2, so that's 6 beads total, through what is now the bottom of this box. And as I come through the bottom of that box, I can see that I need to get to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes high in this column. And I'm going to go up through the side beads here. And as I go through the side beads, again, I went through the right. Last time I went through the left side. But I'm always going to be coming out through the top. So I have 5 on. I have 1 more to go. Again, another group of 6. And once you have 6 beads on your needle, those 2 groupings, you're going back through the top of the last box, which starts now to become the bottom. Because we are actually going to be adding on rows to our right angle weave, we are going to not go back to the top of the 6th box because we actually want to add 5 boxes in our next column as we get smaller and smaller as we create. To get to that starting point, we're actually going to be sharing a side. Because I'm on this left-hand side, I want you to very simply, if you're right-handed, flip over the piece so the stop bead is now kind of coming out towards you. That's going to put you out what is now being looked at as the right-hand side. I'm going to sew down through the right-hand side of box number 2. That way I don't see any extra thread. This box number 2, the right side, is going to become the left side of the box in the 2nd column. I'm going to add 6 beads, which are going to be the bottom of a box that's going to sit beside it, the right-hand side of the box, and then 2 more beads for the top of the box. To create the box, I want to go back through those 2 seed beads that sit on the right-hand side of the previous column, and that creates my box there in my next column of right angle weave. To close it out, I want to go to the bottom of that box. So I'm going to go through the 2 beads and out towards the right. As I go through those 2 beads and out towards the right then, I'm in position to start another box. To start another box, I'm going to be going along and running along box number 4 from column 1. I'm going to create box number 4 in column 2. I already have 2 beads that are going to function as the top of my box, and I have 2 beads here from the previous one that are going to function as the left-hand side of my box. I'm going to add 4 more beads 2 that'll be the right-hand side, and 2 that will become the bottom of the box. Circling around, I'm going to go through the beads that will be the left-hand side of the box from column 1. Get that tail out of there and show you as we pull it down, those 2 beads are going to come up nice and into that circle. Now I'm coming out the left-hand side of the box, and I want to sew over through the roof of the box, or through the top of the box, down through the right-hand side of the box, because I want to make sure as I'm coming down this way that I get to the bottom of the box. My thread and needle is now coming out the bottom of the box. So you're always going to be coming out the top or the bottom, depending on if you're sewing up or down. And when I know that I'm at the top or the bottom, that's when I know I'm starting my next right angle unit. I'm going to first go through the left-hand side because those beads are already there and I'm connecting to them. I'm going to add 4 more beads because I need a bottom. And then from the bottom, I need a right-hand side. Going back through the top then, I'll bring my thread and needle out. And then completing down to get to the position where I can put on my next box, I'm going to go down the left-hand side. And once I come down the left, and get that thread untwisted. Once I come down the left here, I'm then going to go over the 2 beads that are going to be the bottom. And there you can see I have 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3. I have 2 more to go and to build on. I know it's rather lengthy, but I am going to do this with you because I want to make sure that as you downgrade this right angle weave, you start getting the habit of how you're connecting to the left side of the previous row. So there I have 2 beads that I'm going up after putting on my 4 beads to create my next box. And my thread wants to tangle. And you can see you can just kind of pull that out there before it tangles. And as I have that next box in place then, I'm going to get to the bottom of the box by going through the top of the box. And then after going through the top of the box, I'm going to come down the side of the box as well. Once you're down this side of the box, you're going to go to the bottom of the box. Because remember, you always want to get to the bottom of the box as you're coming down, building the opposite way. Here as I'm at the bottom, I'm going to go to the last box in column number 1, which was the first box that we added. You're going to bring your thread and needle out near that stop bead. Add your last 4 beads to this column, which is going to create your 5th box in column number 2. As we create that 5th box in column number 2, sew down through the 2 beads at the base. And then just like we did when we were at the top, in order to create my next row of my boxes, I'm going to sew up so I'm coming out on one of the right-hand sides. On the right-hand side of column number 1, we started to add column number 2. On the right-hand side of column number 2, we're going to start to add column number 3. Coming out the top of the actual right-hand side of the previous column, so of column 2, we're going to add 6 beads onto our next row. So I have 6 beads, the one hanging out up there. I have 6 beads on my needle and thread. Those 6 beads are going to become the top, the right-hand side, and the bottom of the first box in column 3. I'm going to go back up through the 2 beads, which are now going to be the left side of column 3's box. You can see that box kind of fits right in there. I'm going to sew through the 2 beads that are going to be the top of the box. And what that does is that establishes my first box along this row. From here then, I'm going to be adding 4 beads at a time, just like we did when we did column number 2. Column number 3 is no different 4 beads go on at a time. You're going to be always coming out the top of the box. Add the right hand side and your new top. Go down the left hand side and back through what is now going to be the bottom of your box. To finish out the right angle unit and to get in position to start another one, I need to make sure that I'm coming out the top of my box. So I'm going to go up the 2 beads on the right and then out the 2 beads at the top of the box. Again, this top of the box will become the bottom of the next right angle unit. I already have my 2 beads on that are going to be the left hand side. So now I just need to add 4 more beads, 2 for the top and 2 for the right hand side. Again, sew through what is now your bottom of the box, and then sew up through the left hand side. And then after the left hand side, you know that you need to end at the top of the box. So I'm going to sew through the 2 beads that are at the top. Sometimes when you end, every other time you're going to be ending towards what will be column 2, or you'll be ending in the middle towards what will be column number 4, or you'll be ending towards the middle column 2. When you end towards the exterior, towards the right hand side, 4 beads go on right away, and then you pick up the side beads. When you go the other side, it's the opposite. So this is actually going to finish out my 3rd column. My 3rd column has 4 beads on it. I'm going to go over just like I've been doing through the bottom, and then I'm going to go up the 2 beads on the side, down the 2 beads on the side. When I come down the 2 beads on the side, I'm going to be coming out of box number 3 because that's going to be the first box that I add in column number 4. Remember, every time you're getting ready to add a new column, you're going to add 6 beads at a time. After that, you add 4 beads because I need my bottom, my right, and my top of my box. I'm going to go down after adding 6 beads, what's going to be the left-hand side of the box, and then through the bottom of the box. This time as I sew down and add the boxes down, I'm always going to be exiting to start my next right angle weave unit at the bottom of the box. 4 more beads go on, which are going to be my right and my bottom, and then you're going to go up through the beads that are the left hand of the box. Sew over then through those top 2 beads. Once you're over through the top 2, you know you need to get to the bottom 2 in order to add your last box in. So we're going to go down the right hand side, and then again we always want to end on the bottom of the right angle unit. I'm going to go through here the 2 beads that sit on the left hand side and get ready to add 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are going to be the bottom and the right. I'm going back in then to the top to circle out that right angle unit. Sew down then through the left hand side. Sew through the bottom of the right angle unit. And that finishes up column number 4. So you can see 4 columns here. I need to go in and add my 5th. My 5th column is only going to be 2 boxes high. I want to share that left hand side or that right hand beads, which is going to become my left. Again, starting the next row, 6 beads go on, rounding out through those 2 side beads to create my first right angle unit. And then I'm going to sew this time and make sure to end the unit I'm always coming out the top of the box. When I'm out the top of the box, I know I need 2 more beads for the right side of the box and 2 beads for the top of the box. This top becomes the bottom of this next box, and I'm going to go down through the left 2 beads for the left side. Sewing back around then, I'm going to circle around through that bottom, get my tail out of there. And then this is a funny one where you stop here. Because you're only 2 columns high, you're actually going to sew down through the 2 beads on the left here, and you just have 1 more box to do. So here on this one more box to finish it off, I'm going to use 6 beads. These 2 are going to be my bottom, my side, and my top. Go down through the left-hand side, and that's going to finish off your box. I want to get to the corner of the box by going through the base 2 or the bottom 2 of the one box that sits in column number 6. From here, we're going to get ready actually to go ahead and add all the embellishments to the top of our isosceles triangle. So once you are through to the actual bottom of the piece, we're coming out the bottom of the last little box there. What I want to do is sew up the side, just like if I was going to be adding another box. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is actually adding in my crystals. Again, you can use pearls, you can use crystals, all different things to embellish. I'm using 3mm. 3mm sits really well inside these 2 groupings of 11/0s. Coming out the bottom of, or I'm sorry, coming out the top of the right-hand side, we are going to go into the bottom of the left side of the box. What we're going to do then is make sure that that crystal sits to the front. Coming out the top of the right side in box in column number 5 here, we're going to add a crystal. And you can see it gets really repetitive. I'm going to add a crystal, and we're going to go down to the bottom of the left side and sew up. So we're coming out. So you're going basically on a diagonal, making sure again that that goes to the front. And there we go. Coming out the top, add some beads to the left and up through the bottom. Putting it on the diagonal makes it stay a little bit more in that squared shape, that when you start to look at the bottom, you get a nice full square. I'm going to go through the whole base row here, adding in 6 crystals that I have, and it's going to be the exact same way, going from the top of one side to the bottom of the other, and then back out to the top. Make sure that bead just kind of sits right on top there. And you can see it wants to curl a little bit. We will correct that as we get through the project. So here we are going into our second column. And now as we add in a crystal to our first column, we're going over to the side 2 beads and up. Again, make sure that crystal sits to the top and that the thread does not go around at all. And my thread is wanting to grab on the back here and get twisted a little bit. I'm going to untwist that and untangle it. And then on goes that bead. Once you're through putting the last of the bottom 6 on in that first row, we're going to move up to the second row of column number 1. To move up to the second row of column number 1, I'm going to untangle my thread first on the side. I'm going to pick up a 15/0 seed bead and go from the first box in column 1 straight up from the left-hand side in 1 to the left-hand side in number 2 box. Coming out that second box then, that's going to just put that 15/0 seed bead right along the edge there and decorate so you don't see the thread. Coming back now again to row 2 of all of my columns, I'm going to pick up another crystal, and then I'm coming out the top of the left-hand side. I'm going to go into the bottom of the right. So we're just doing the exact same thing in the other direction. Going in and adding our row of crystals along the side here. This one's going to have 5 be added all along, and this is the super quick part. You've already had the challenge of doing the right angle weave in a downgrading fashion. And now, which hopefully was a little bit simpler for you. It's one of those, it's nice that I did the whole thing because I wanted you to be able to follow along literally step by step by step. Going in then with my last crystal, I'm going to go through the 2 beads that sit on the side of that last row. And then to get to the next row up to that 3rd row, I'm going to go through the top 2 beads here just like I would be going on and adding kind of another row here. And then between jumping from row 2 to row 3, I'm going to add 115 and go up through the right-hand side of my third row. That's going to add a little 15-0 there in between, and it makes the outer edge look a little bit rounded rather than squared. We want that, and then what we're actually going to do is go back in, and as we reinforce, we're going to add a 15-0 in the missing spaces as well. So coming back through then, you're going to continue on adding in your crystals, going up and down the rows, connecting from one row to another on the outer edges. And if I can pick up a crystal here, I will show you. Then coming out the top here, you're going to go into the bottom on the left. And there, that one's in there. Keep going around and you have a couple more to add in. Adding in and sewing up. And you can see here then I'm just going to continue again going on and adding all of my crystals to the actual piece. And as I do that, I will go up through the columns. What I'm going to do is continue on adding them, and I'll meet you right about where we're going to put in the last one in place. So I have most of the crystals in place, and I'm coming on the outer edge here, adding the last one in. I'm going to pick up my 15-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to sew through my 2 side beads. Add my last crystal in, coming from the top of the left to the bottom of the right, and up those 2. When I exit those 2, there's multiple things that need to be done. So the one thing is, you can see there's gaps where we didn't have the 15s that we're going to go back along the project and add in our 15-0s. On the scalloped side, they're going to be added between those 4 seed beads. On the regular flat sides here, the matching sides of the triangle, we're going to add them between every 2 beads to get that look. And I am going to put it on the point there too as well. From there, you can either finish off your piece completely. And again, this can be a component that you could do too. String a bunch of pearls or something between and actually make it be an outstanding front of a necklace. You can make them into earrings. You can turn it down and hang some things down from the bottom as well. So that's the fun thing of this component. What I'm going to teach you as we add in the beads along the side is how to add in some wire guards in order to put on a tassel to make them look like really fun, fancy earrings, as well as a wire guard along the top. So that way we can attach it to an ear wire and use it in that way. So to start, while I'm coming out to the end here, I'm coming out after 2 beads and I'm kind of at the end of that little scalloped area. From here, I want you to add a 15. Then you're going to add your wire guard. Should have gotten one out first. And the wire guard, if you're not familiar with them, they are a little horseshoe-shaped bead that have basically 2 channels. We're going to take our thread and needle up through one channel on one leg. At this point here, we have to add in our actual tassel. And you're going to add your actual tassel right into that wire guard. And that'll just basically string and go right from it. From there, I'm going to go to the other side of that wire guard, going through the tassel, and then down through the other side of the wire guard. If you know that you don't want to add a tassel, you want to add a bead hanging from there as well, you can do that also, and you don't actually even need to put anything on. You can add that with a jump ring rather than an actual having to place a tassel on. Coming out of that wire guard then, add a 15-0 seed bead and sew in to the next 2 seed beads along that scalloped edge. When you pull that then, your tassel is just going to hang right from the bottom and look very, very professionally put on there. From here, I'm going to go through the whole outer edge of my project. When I have the scallops here, I'm going to pull that thread through, add a 15, and go back through the 4 beads along the scalloped edge. Every other little scallop, then again, remember, you will have an actual seed bead that's already there in place. You're going to make sure you go through that 15 that is already there in place, and then through the scalloped beads as well. Coming out through the scalloped beads again, this time I need a 15. So the 15 gets added and through the scalloped beads. So you're always going basically through 4 on this edge. As we get to the outer edge, after we add the wire guard to the top, you're going to see that we add a 15 after every 2 beads along the sides of the unit. Because we are going through all 4 beads, that's how we're getting that scalloped rather than rounded look. And that's exactly what I wanted for this necklace. So I'll get a couple more of my 15s out here. You only need a couple per piece. If you want to keep it more gold looking, you can use gold 15s instead of the black 15s. When you come up to the top then, you're going to go through those 2 seed beads. Just like you're doing the scalloped, we're going to go through the other 2 to get that scalloped look, and we're coming out the top now. We already have a 15-0 on there. We'll come down that on the other side. Right now I'm going to add 1 more 15 in. And that's going to sit up right next to the pendant there. You're going to add your wire guard. And this time I can add my ear wire after the fact, so I don't need to add anything into the wire guard. I'm going to come down the wire guard on the other side. And then I'm also going to go down through that 15-0 seed bead that's right there along the edge. And you can see on this one here, obviously I grabbed the other one that's already started a little bit, which I didn't realize. You can see this one here, I still need to add in those 15s on each of the ends. Here along this one that I picked up, the 15s, I've already gone through and added a 15 between each. So along the end here, coming out through that scallop, I'll go in and I'll add. One thing to remember is that you want them to be mirrored. So you want to make sure that as you add the tassel, that you have one kind of facing to the left and one facing to the right if you're going to make them a set of earrings. All I have to do now is go down to the base of this piece and then tie off the thread ends. So I'm literally just sewing back through the whole piece here. And like I said, on the corner, I add a little 15 to make that corner kind of stand at a nice point. If you get tight in there, just kind of wiggle a little bit and try to pull the needle through, bring it down to the end and knot it off. That gives you that wire guard at the top. So again, when I go in to start this one as well, same thing, I'll go up to the top. And remember, this one's going to be the opposite, so I'm actually at the opposite corner, which is great because I can go in now. Grab my wire guard here at this corner, add in my tassel, and then go up along this side, adding in the 15. One's already there, add a 15, one's already there. Every 2 beads, remember, you need a 15 in place. Go in and add your wire guard to the top, and then scallop down the other side to make this stunning deco earring. Thanks so much for joining me and learning how to make this deco component. Keep in mind, you don't have to do this as a pair of earrings. You can do it as a necklace, you can hang things down, and you can even take the skills that you learned from this video and make so many more things in different shapes with the new skills that you have with the right angle weave. As always, you can also subscribe to this YouTube video. Comment below and let us know exactly what you're going to be making with your right angle weave, what you're going to be using to embellish, and how you changed up the project as well. This not only helps us to know exactly what you want to see, but also helps your fellow beaders and your community members to get ideas and inspiration so they can too design their own as well. As always, again, if you need materials, you can shop with us at PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. Again, stay connected with us on our websites through our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making, Instagram, and all those other great social media points. Thanks so much for watching the Deco Earrings, and I think I need to put on a black dress and go dancing tonight.